Just getting those of you who are part of the draw, getting all your packages ready to go to the post office this afternoon, well this morning I hope. First of all, apologies that this vlog has been so late in arriving. I actually started and intended to post this vlog, well, Wednesday, Thursday. I recorded it Wednesday for Thursday morning. I did this whole section I'm going to do for you in a moment about the diminished scale, and the microphone hadn't worked. I've kind of had no space from Wednesday evening until tonight, which is Saturday night, to actually record this for you because I've had family staying, my parents came and stayed. I had a mega busy day in London yesterday, but hang on. Part of the reason for the mega busy day yesterday, I had a photo shoot to do as part of my job in Westminster, but I got to play around with this beauty. And you can see some shots that I took on this both yesterday and then today in the garden, including one of my favourites, this one of the cat. It really is a wonderful lens. It's very, very expensive, more expensive than a few of my mouthpieces added together, so I won't be getting it yet, but I've had great fun using it. I have to hand it back tomorrow, so a couple more shoots to do on this, but interesting to see what you can get with a long lens. Have to go and put it safely back in its bag. So I'm going to stop the chatter now and I'm just going to grab my sax and I'm going to hopefully be able to remember everything I did for you so brilliantly on Wednesday. So as far as the diminished scale goes, there are essentially two types. There is the whole half and the half whole, and they do what they say on the tin. With the whole half you're playing semitone, sorry, you're playing tone, semitone, and with the half whole you're playing semitone, tone. I want to give you an easier way to remember them, an easier way to work them. So I'm going to keep everything on C, I'm going to play it on tenor. Now, there's lots and lots I can talk to you about in the diminished scale, and there's going to be stuff missing off this because it's a vlog video. And before you all start putting comments in below going, hey, well, we didn't do it. I know. Head to Cambridge Saxophone if you want a really in-depth look at the diminished scale and kind of how Coltrane applies it, Brecker applies it, Sonny Rollins applies it, loads of other people apply it, how I would tend to play it. But I just want to give you a little quick heads up on this scale and kind of how I go about using it and deploying it. So, I want you to think of two mixolydian modes separated by a tritone. If you're not sure what a mixolydian mode is, it's a major scale with a flattened seventh. So you might think of it as 8 flat 7 6 5 on a C descending, and then 8 flat 7 6 5 on F sharp. Sorry. And then it resolves to the C. Okay? So quite easily, the first lick I played there for you was just using that scale, just adding a bit of rhythm to it. That easy, okay? The other one I did was, a diminished is basically built upon intervals of minor thirds. That's what it is. So if I play it on the piano, sorry, I'm running out of hands here trying to hold the saxophone at the same time. There we go. And it basically brings about tension. In jazz, by playing the diminished scale, you've got all those lovely juicy notes, flat 9, sharp 11, all those kind of things. But what I think about when I think of a diminished is this, is the girl tied to the train track in the silent movie. It just adds tension, does it? And then it wants release. So if you're playing something tense over a dominant seventh that resolves to a 1 chord, you create this tension and resolution. And all great music is about setting up tensions and resolutions. A lot of great musicians set up kind of they don't take you to the resolution straight away. They take you out a little bit. I mean, you know, Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, everyone kind of, if they're really good, they weave you in and out and then you land there, not quite when you expect it, but they give you a little journey to get there. And that's what you're getting with the diminished scale. So I would say, you know, to keep it brief, because it's a vlog and episode, I would first of all suggest that you practice them in all 12 keys. Well, in fact, actually 6 keys, because once you've got round one half, you're doing it. In other words, circle of fifths, you go C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. By the time you get around to F sharp, you're doing the C one again, because C and F sharp are the tritone apart. I'm doing this in my hand as if I have an imaginary circle of fifths here, which I don't, of course. But you get what I'm getting at. If this is a little bit on for you, you need to go back, maybe try and work on your modes and things like that. But anyway, that's what you do on that. And then what that second one I was doing was kind of thinking about each point on a diminished triad coming down. So descending minor thirds, so C, A, F sharp, E flat. So kind of bringing it back each time to one of those points. It sounds cool, doesn't it? I hope you think so anyway. So that's how you go about playing the diminished scale. How do you deploy it? Don't do it deliberately on a gig, as to a certain extent. Although I've got to say, not deliberately, but a lot of times when I'm playing footprints, you will hear me kind of drop this lick in almost by accident. Yeah. Or variants of said lick. It just comes naturally to me. It's something I probably need to do a little bit more on. I wasn't quite happy with how I ran that, but I hasten to add I haven't practiced since Wednesday, so I feel a little bit rusty today. But yeah, that's how you play that diminished. Any questions or comments, I'll do my best to answer it, but a lot of the time I might, you kind of got to have the underlying technique to be able to deploy that. That's the main thing on there. I think that will probably be a good place to end today's vlog. I will be back later on this week with some really interesting vlogs, because Friday of next week, this week, whenever you're kind of watching it, marks exactly a year since I started vlogging. And at least I've learnt how to say the word correctly now. So I've watched a little bit over the last few weeks, some people doing vlogs, and I kind of thought, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget, if you don't already subscribe, please hit the subscribe button. If you subscribe already, you know how much I love you. Have a wonderful, wonderful Easter day, and I will see you very, very soon. As a jazz musician, I'm required to improvise, to create music that is in the moment. Through my chosen instrument on the saxophone, I try to communicate and shape a language that opens a door to the listener of how I perceive the world around me. Like all artists, I seek to use my art form to try and open a door. And for me, that door comes through jazz music. The reason for that is that jazz reminds us of life. The good parts and the bad parts. Jazz reminds us that we can work things out with other people. And jazz urges us to accept that the decisions of others are equal to and sometimes greater than our own. In one of his few speeches on jazz, Martin Luther King said, "Jazz speaks for life. The blues tell the story of life's difficulties. And if you think for a moment, you will realize that they take the hardest realities of life and put them into music, only to come out with some new hope or sense of triumph." I feel very lucky to have studied both music and theology in my life. It was the music of John Coltrane, one of my favourite saxophone players, which led me onto a deeper and fuller existence, and a wish to study more, and a wish to study theology, to find out about what that love supreme really is all about. And in a way, good music, like good theology, is determined by how it tells the story of real life. Theology and music need to be shaped by real life experiences. For me, the depth and scope of jazz music, its embrace of the hardest realities of life, and its ability to come out with something new, some new hope or sense of triumph, in the words of Luther King, mirror the scriptures. And it's jazz music that gives musicians a really wide sonic palette by which we can paint, for want of a better word, our music. I've been passionate about jazz music since I was a teenager. Why? Because in jazz I found a freedom to be myself. A freedom to be myself while still being in a group situation. I found that jazz gave me the freedom to express my deepest feelings. In jazz, I found freedom to express my feelings, and I even found the freedom to get things wrong. But most importantly, I found that freedom, creativity, and above all, human life were a divine gift. After all, God is the great, original improviser. Jazz music recognizes the imperfections of this world and yet longs to see a redeemed world, a better world.